We were driving late at night trying to figure out where we were going to stop for the night. And we saw this random like green light in the sky. And we were like, what is that?
Yeah.
And we ended up stopping literally in the middle of the road. There wasn't even a shoulder that you could pull over. We stopped in the middle of the road and we got out and it was the Northern Lights. And they were just like this green ribbon in the sky. And it was amazing.
I'm Becky Brower, and I'm a Sendy mom. Welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast. I am excited to be here with my friend Allison Lee. So she has been a student of mine, actually, piano student for, I don't know, how long have we done this?
Like two maybe
years?
3.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But I've learned to just love Allie and her excitement for learning new things, and especially with the piano as an adult, it can be kind of a little intimidating, I think, to
for sure
do something like this. So yeah, she came to me and maybe we'll get into that just a little bit as we're talking. But I'm gonna read this bio that I took all this stuff because she had a bunch of friends like send her stuff about what makes her Sendy mom, and she sent me a little bio, and so I wanted to kind of combine those into a little bit of a bio. So I'm gonna read what ChatGPT helped me with.
Love it.
My good friend, actually good friend Claude says this. Allison Lee is the kind of woman you don't notice making the room better until you realize she always has been. Wife to an ultra athlete, mother of 4, and full-time administrative secretary at a junior high, she lives a life that doesn't slow down. But what sets Allison apart isn't her pace, it's her posture. She moves through challenge, change, and chaos with a quiet, unshakable faith and a genuine belief that the best version of life is usually just on the other side of what scares you. She's adventurous without being loud about it, spiritual without being performative, and somehow always in the details without needing credit for it. Allison is a builder of people, of memories, of the kind of experiences that leave others feeling more capable and more alive. She believes wholeheartedly that we have to let go of the life we are living to experience the life that is waiting for us. And she's living proof that letting go doesn't mean losing anything. It means making room for everything. So
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. No,
pretty cool.
I read through that and I was like, yep, this totally describes Allie. So I'm so excited to talk to you. And I wanted to start out with that quote. We have to let go of the life we are living to experience the life that is waiting for us. So I wanted to ask you where that landed in your life, like when that kind of came up.
I don't really remember where I saw it first, but it somehow just always stuck with me. So whenever I felt stuck in my life or like I was facing a challenge that I couldn't quite overcome, that thought would come into my mind. This is something that you're hanging on to that maybe you just need to let go of to find out what's in store.
So what are some of the things that you felt like you had to let go of?
I think there was a few things. So starting out, I had to kind of let go of education so that I could put my husband through school and support our family with insurance and benefits. And so I put my education on hold and just supported my husband through his education. And
what was he doing?
He started out doing pre-med. He wanted to go to medical school, and we actually had 2 brothers-in-law that did it, went through medical school, and he realized that was not the schedule that he wanted. But he loved the medical field, and so he decided to move more towards the business side of health. So he switched and did business administration with healthcare administration emphasis. He also did a degree in nutrition. He loves exercise and the outdoors. So yeah.
So how did you, so thinking back to that time when you had to kind of make that switch, like what were your feelings at that time? Was it just kind of a natural, I'm going to drop out of school and I'm going to take care of you? Or was it like, hey, this is my life too. And, how are we going to be able to compromise this? Or how did you?
I think it was definitely a team decision. This is what's right for our family at this time. And I've always grown up in a family that really supports each other. And so I think that's in my background. I'm a supporter and that's what we do. And we just make it work and we make everyone around us better.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so tell me about the family that you grew up in then.
So the family I grew up in, I was the 4th child of 6.
Okay.
We have a family of traditions and making memories. That was something that was big in our family. So we did a lot of camping trips. We did a lot of game playing and just having fun together as a family. We also are very connected to our extended family. So I spent a lot of time with my cousins growing up. I knew my second cousins growing up.
Okay.
So having a huge support system, I think, is key to becoming who I am today.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, we are a combination of everybody together. And I think that once you get that camaraderie instead of this competition, because in families, that doesn't always happen, right? A lot of times there's this competition of who is going to get mom and dad's more attention or whatever. But to have this idea of like, hey, we're in this together and we're helping to raise each other is collaborative is so much easier and so much nicer in the long run. So did everybody in your family, do you feel like all of your siblings had that same kind of attitude towards family connections?
I think we were all very close as a family. I think definitely I was more of the peacemaker of the family. And everyone would come to me if they had problems, which is strange as a middle child to actually have that. But I think I was able to connect well with all of my siblings and kind of create an environment of peace.
Okay. And so did you ever feel, I guess, resentful about that position? Or did you kind of like being the one that...
I never resented it. No.
Okay.
I've always loved my family, and all of my siblings with their different personalities bring a different aspect.
And I kind of feel like that middle person is really the balance, the one that kind of keeps everybody else, steady, I guess, within the family. So do you consider yourself a cautious or reckless person? Like as a child, were you?
I would say I would be somewhere in between.
Okay.
I think that I wanted to be more reckless, but I would calculate it first.
Yeah.
So somewhere in between.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. And what are some of the activities that you kind of engaged in that maybe were adventures? Because there was one person said, let's see, adventure is out there was kind of your motto, and like through girls' camps and things like that.
Yes.
And so tell me about the adventures that you got into.
I love just finding new things. So as a kid, we would create all these different clubs. We had a junk collecting club with my cousin, and we would go out and we would find treasures and we would bring them home, and then we would try to create something from them, and we had
like art.
Yes. Or we would look at that book, How the Way Things Work. I don't know if you've ever seen that book before.
Yes, my kids.
And I didn't even read it. I just looked at the pictures to try to figure out how things worked. And then I would try to build like a factory out of the things that I collected. I would just try to create things from what I had found.
Okay.
I also had a craft club that I created with some of my friends, and we would make jewelry, and then we would go try to sell it on the street corner.
So it sounds like you were a starter.
Yeah, I think I still am a starter for sure. I get lots of ideas in my head. I can't always follow through with them, but I like to surround myself with other people that can help create those ideas and make them move forward. I think it kind of comes from just having a family that was super supportive. They just never made you feel like any idea was a dumb idea. And they just kind of facilitated an environment where you could thrive in
doing
imagination.
What you wanted to do.
Yes.
I love that. So what did you end up going to school for?
I started going to school for health science.
Okay. So have you always been kind of into health and fitness and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I always wanted to be a heart surgeon. Okay. Sounds a little silly, but
it sounds inspiring.
Yes. I never felt like I could ever do the schooling for that, or that I could dedicate the time for that. But just the heart fascinates me. The body and how it works fascinates me.
Yeah.
Being able to help people fascinates me. And so I think I've always been drawn to that profession.
Have you had any health challenges that you've had to kind of go through?
Yes. I've had challenges with miscarriages. I've had thyroid issues that I've had to deal with. I've had some issues with neuroma in my feet from running that have caused that to be a little bit harder.
Is that when it's like tingly or you can't feel them or something?
It's kind of like a tumor on the nerve in your foot. And so it can cause a lot of pain. in your feet when you're running or walking. And,
Like where? Like on the bottom of your feet?
Like the ball of your foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that would be a problem. So did you do a lot of running races and things like that? Have you done
No, I never did it competitively. All of my family does.
Okay.
But I never did it competitively. I was more someone that did sports for the fun of doing sports.
Okay.
I liked the church sports because they were less competitive and it kept the fun in it. I never did really competitive sports. I did clogging when I was younger, so I did dance.
Oh, I think we talked about that once before.
Yeah.
I was a clogger too.
That's so fun. Yeah, sometimes I miss that.
Which is very athletic.
Fun. Yes.
Like being a clogger is very athletic. So yeah, that is fun. So what are some of the other like passions that you've kind of, dipped your toe into and interested in?
So I got into running a little bit, started dipping my toes into that. Nothing competitively, but I ran a few like 5Ks. I've always loved hiking. So a lot of things outdoors makes me super happy.
And your husband does ultra marathon running. So
Yes.
What is that exactly?
Ultra running is where you do races that are more like 50 miles, 100 miles, 250 miles, and it's usually trail running.
Okay.
So he does a lot of trail running at those distances, which is a huge accomplishment.
You've had to support him in that because I'm sure it takes like a lot of time for him to go out and train and everything.
For sure. Yeah. He made a promise to me when he started these competitive sports that he would never let it interfere with family time.
Yeah.
So he's been really good about getting up early or, taking time during lunch breaks at work to do his training so that when he came home, he was home and he spent the time with us.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like, so it sounds like you've had really good communication through the whole thing. And so it really is a joint effort, like raising the children. I mean, I know when my husband and I, when we first started having kids and stuff, we kind of decided, well, he was going to make more money than I ever was. So that was kind of true. And I was more suited towards raising the kids. And so that's how we divided it. But we had that communication beforehand that that's what we're going to do. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. And it doesn't mean that somebody else could do it different. Like my kids have kind of gone to more of this equality sort of thing. Like mom and dad both work and not all of them, but my kids both work and they both help out in the house too and do, dividing and whatever. But I think the biggest thing is the communication.
Yeah. I think in our relationship, we've both been a team like the whole time. Whenever he was at home with the kids. Whenever he was at work, I was home with the kids. We always wanted to be there for them. So, we've always been a really good team. He helps out around the house. He helps change diapers when we needed it. Yeah. And I've helped do things around the house as well and in the yard. We do everything as a team.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk about like your kids and how you have been able to teach your kids to be a little bit more courageous and more resilient. Like what are some of that? Have you been kind of deliberate about that? I mean, you talked about your own extended family and, the kinds of traditions that you've done with your extended family, but what have you done with your own kids to kind of help them to be more courageous and resilient?
I think the thing for us is we have a saying at our house that growth can't happen in comfort zones. And so we always encourage them to set goals and then be mindful about how they're going to accomplish it. And we kind of walk them through how to do that, walk them through the steps. Like if you want to be on the basketball team and you want to try out for the basketball team, what are you going to do to get there? Okay. And then we're always there to support them and help them along the way. Yeah. So I think for us, it's building confidence in our kids, being that support for them, but also encouraging them and then holding them accountable. Okay. I think a lot of times we set goals and then we do really good for like a week, maybe a month, and then we kind of let it go.
It's the consistency, of just showing up. Mm-hmm. So like, are there certain rules or anything that or things that you've kind of taught your kids about showing up and being consistent? Like, did you have some rules around like, okay, you signed up for this and you need to stick it out through the whole thing or?
Yeah, we definitely encouraged our kids to stick it out. If they decided they wanted to quit, we made sure they really thought about it before they did.
Okay.
You know,
but that was always a choice.
But it was a choice. Yeah. We let them choose. And we just tried to encourage them to put their all into it. Whatever they did, you start it, try to finish it. And if you can't, we'll help you.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, then it's your choice.
So did you have a kid that like did something like that started something out and then they were like, actually, this is not for me?
So our son was playing football and he was excelling at flag football.
Okay.
And he loved it. And he decided that he wanted to try tackle football. And I was a little nervous about it. He's not very big. And I got worried that he would get hurt. And but he really wanted to try it. So we're like, let's sign you up. We'll let you try it. We went. He picked up his pads and his helmet and he tried it out. And he all of a sudden couldn't see the ball to catch it because of the helmet. And it was hard to move in the pads.
Okay.
And they were very heavy. And we had him play just ball in the yard with some neighbors. And they had been playing for a few years, so they were a little bit better.
Yeah.
And he got hit kind of hard a few times, knocked him down, and he didn't like it. He cried and he wanted to quit really bad. It was not for him.
And you're like, actually, that's okay because I didn't really want you to do it in the first place.
Yes, that's what was going through my head. But I didn't want him to get out that easy.
Right. I mean, that's where it's like, I don't know. I kind of want you to be out, but I don't want you to quit either. So how do you manage that?
Yes. So what we had him do is we had him wear his helmet around the house, build some muscles in your neck so that you can get used to wearing a helmet. And then we would have him wear his pads and just in normal everyday things. So he would wear it around the house till he got more comfortable with it. And my husband took him out into the yard, practiced passing to him so that he could practice catching with all of the gear on. And anyway, we took him to the park, same thing, practice passing, practice running, different routes. And we have a picture of him where he's just sitting on the ground, head in his hands, and he is just crying like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And so we did everything that we could to help him with feel confident and have the tools that he needed to make a good decision. And then we left it up to him. We're like, if you really don't want to do this, then that's okay. But we want you to think about it, sleep on it, pray about it, really think about what you want to do, and let us know tomorrow.
Yep.
And he slept on it, and he woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to do it.
And he wanted to keep going.
And he wanted to keep going.
But see, then it's his choice. And then he's motivated to do it because if you tell him like, yeah, you signed up, so you're good for the rest of the year or whatever, then they're going to be like pushing against it the whole time. I love that.
Yes.
Wow.
So he worked super hard.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a really good little football player, and his team went on to win the championship. And so, kind of came full circle. He built that confidence, but like you said, it became his decision and not ours. Yeah. And I think that's something that we can teach our kids, that we can
so much.
Be there for them, give them all the tools that they need, help them work through the hard stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, let them decide and make
be
it
okay
theirs.
with it. Because you have to get yourself, I think, to a place where you're okay with any decision they make, you know, and which you can be because it really is their job. You're not living their life. And so if you can get to this place of if he chooses to stay, if he chooses to go, it's okay. Have there ever been things though, where you felt like, this is a family thing, this is what we're doing, and, we're holding firm with this, where you've felt like you've needed to kind of lay down the law or anything like that?
Family has always been super important to us, and that should come first every time. So we have had to say no to some things in order to have our family time. And sometimes that's been hard for our kids, and other times it's been a blessing to them. But we have always prioritized family.
Okay. So tell me about a time when it was like they didn't want to go, like you're going on a vacation or something, they're not excited about it. I know that when they get to be teenagers, sometimes they get a little bit, they don't want to do the things that you think would be really fun. You're trying to plan a fun vacation and they don't really want to go. Have you ever had an experience like that?
We've had a few where the kids have had friend plans and then we have family plans, and kind of the same thing. We let them choose. This is what we're doing. and you can choose what you want to do. And I think sometimes they chose friends over family, but instead of not doing what we had planned to do, we still do what we had planned to do. And so then they felt like they were missing out.
Yeah.
And then they would come back. And so, but sometimes our kids would choose family when there wasn't anything happening.
Yeah.
And then we had to kind of push them out the door and say, it's okay if you want to go hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're just hanging out at home. Like, we don't have any solid plans. So
you just
there's definitely a
balance. You
balance.
have to trust them. It's about trusting your kids that they're going to make, because even if they do make a decision, like, you know, they want to go hang out with the friends or whatever, doesn't mean that they're like always going to choose the friends. Like there's going to be times when they're going to choose the family. And so you have to not get hurt by that, you know, when they're choosing something else. And especially as they're starting to leave your nest too.
Yes. I was just going to say, it's a little bit harder when they're getting married and kind of out on their own. It's harder to not have them around as much.
Yeah.
And to choose other things or have other people they have to balance their time with. And I think that's been a learning experience for me, for sure.
So how do you feel about that? Like, have you had an experience where you're having a family thing and the in-law wants to do something? Like, have you gone through a Christmas? You have gone through a Christmas with an in-law, right?
Yes.
So what's that like, and how do you manage that? Your feelings about it, I guess.
It's a little bit hard, but we are full supporters of family and we want it to be fair, you know? And so we tell our kids, we want you here when you can be here, but we want you here fully. Yeah. We don't want you to just show up and say, hey, check the box. Now we're going over to the other family. Yeah. Because they live really close to us. And so it's really easy to go to both houses, both families in a day.
Right.
But for us, it's more about the quality of the time rather than the quantity. Yeah. So we just encourage them to commit to what they can, but commit fully. Yeah. So, and communicate. Yeah. You know, we talked a lot about communication. So let us know what you can come to, what's important to you, and we'll make it work.
Yeah. No, and I found that too. And just making sure that they know that, like, you guys are a unit and you get to communicate and decide what is best for your family, and trust them too, that as long as you maintain that good relationship of trust with each other, they're going to want to come to your house. So you don't have to force anything, because, you know, we always tell our kids, we understand this is hard, you know, because they know, you know, if they've got these families that are close, they're like, do I go with them? Do I go, you know, and you've got these new in-laws that you have to deal with, you know, like your in-laws' parents or whatever, that do things like different than how you did. And so there's this other influence and everything that can be, like, in-law relationships can be tricky. So yeah. So it sounds like you've kind of learned how to manage that just by, you know, communicating, hey, be fully present. When you decide to come, then we just want you to be fully present with us.
Yeah. And we've just let them know we're going to invite you to everything, but we don't expect you to come to everything.
Right. And I think that's really the point, is like, you need to make your own decisions. And it sounds like you've done that from the beginning. It helped your kids to realize that they are agents to themselves and are entitled to personal revelation and entitled to making their own choices and not having them thrust upon them. So I think that's an important lesson to have. So tell me about a crossroads maybe that you're at in your life right now, that you're trying to, like, I know you started working at the junior high as an administrative assistant, right? Or as a
administrative secretary.
Yeah. Like, how long has that been? Year and a half
Just
or so?
this year. Okay. This past school year is when I started that. It was the first time I've gone back working full time since, you know, before, like, at the very beginning of our marriage.
Well, let's talk about that. Because I know there's a lot of people that are like that, you know, like, okay, I've raised my children, I need to get back into going to work. And that can be a little intimidating. So how did you go about looking for a job and knowing what your skill set was to be able to apply?
So I started out when my kids were younger, just volunteering at the school in their classes. And once my youngest was into first grade, going to school full time, I thought, well, maybe I could go work as an aide at the school, just part time. And so I applied for that and was able to get a job at the school working part time. And it turned out to be a lot bigger job than I had imagined.
Really?
I thought it would be more like volunteering in the classroom, and it turned out to be more of a teaching job. They had me doing the specialty classes for all of the kindergarten classes.
Wow. Okay.
So I found myself being a teacher of PE and music and art, which I didn't really feel like I had the skill set for. I had taught my kids preschool classes, but that's about where it ended.
Wow. How did you do that then? Did you have to come up with lesson plans and everything? And you just kind of jumped in and said, okay.
Exactly. I got the job not knowing that that was what I was going to be doing. And I just jumped in and was like, well, if they think I can do it, I probably can. So
wow, Allie, that is so Cindy.
So it was a lot of work, and it was hard for me because I'm a super creative person. And so I would come up with these great craft ideas for art. And then I would have to remember these are kindergartners. They don't even know how to cut yet.
Right. Yeah.
And so I would have to dumb things down a little bit or prep a lot more. And, it really taught me how to organize my time a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good learning experience. It helps you to
appreciate teachers a lot more too, I think.
For sure.
Because they do a lot of things outside of class time to just get prepared for their classes. That's amazing. And so, but you just jumped in and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that for a year, and then I stayed as an aide, but they found someone else to do the specialty classes, which was great. And I just helped more in the classroom, helped with interventions and things like that. And so I did that for a couple of years. And then I got an opportunity to work for the district doing testing. So I got a new job working as a tester and would go around to all the different elementary schools and helped with their Acadience testing, which is like a reading assessment for grades K through 6. And that kind of got me into working a little bit more. So that was Monday through Friday, certain times of the year, and then they would have these little windows of time off.
Yeah.
But working Monday through Friday, and that was a little bit hard to get used to.
Yeah.
I was still home when my kids were home, which was great. I had hours that kept me home when my kids were home, which I
But usually you're used to like having those big blocks of time to be able to get your stuff done, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of where I was at. And then we had a little job scare with my husband's job that, they were laying off thousands of employees. We didn't know if his job was going to be secure or not.
Yeah.
So anyway, with his job, kind of like we weren't sure what was going to happen with that. If he lost his job, we would also lose all of our health benefits.
Yeah,
which is kind of a big deal.
Right.
And so we were working to build our savings faster to make sure we had, some security there, but really wanted to find a backup plan. And he does coaching on the side. And so we thought maybe we can just build up this coaching business of his.
What kind of coaching does he do?
He coaches runners.
Okay.
And makes like running plans for people who are running anything from a 5K to a 250 mile.
Okay, 250.
And he also does like triathlon training.
Okay.
And helps with nutrition as well. So we thought maybe that's something that we could fall back on if we needed to.
But then again, it's not the insurance and the security.
Correct.
From a,
full-time job. And so I had a neighbor that stopped by and just said, hey, would you be interested in working at the junior high? And I said, I don't know, maybe. Like, what would that entail? Yeah. And they were like, oh, it's just a secretary position. And I said, well, send me the information and I'll
apply.
Maybe. Yeah. So I applied, not really knowing much about what the position was, and got an interview. Kind of felt like I bombed the interview.
Really? What does bombing the interview for you look like?
I just felt really unprepared, I think. It was a very formal interview. I went in and there was a panel. They had like printed out questions.
Wow.
And I had come into it I had rushed there from something else. And so I just didn't feel super prepared. And I'm a person that doesn't do well with like on the spot.
Okay.
I like to have a question ahead of time so I can think about it.
Yeah.
And this was a lot of on the spot questions.
Yeah.
And so I didn't feel like I answered them super well. And in fact, when I left, I just was like,
that was an experience.
That was a learning experience. And I remember emailing them and re-answering one of the questions to try to like save
Give
myself.
some clarity, yeah.
And anyway, I just walked away from it kind of laughing at myself and just thinking, well, that was a good learning experience. I know where I can improve.
Yeah.
And
which is a good thought, honestly,
Yeah.
like after walking away from things that are hard, because if you can just put it into this place where it's not so huge, such a huge problem, then it doesn't become a huge problem.
Exactly. And I knew some of the other people that had applied for this position and knew that they had a lot more qualifications than I did.
Okay.
And so I felt a little underqualified for the position, but it was a good experience for me. And I walked away feeling fine about it.
Yeah.
And anyway, ended up getting the position, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And when I asked them how, they said that they had talked to a lot of people that knew me, and a lot of people had nice things to say about me. And my sister-in-law made the comment that, because I had told her that I didn't feel great about the interview, but then I had gotten the job, and probably because of what other people had said about me. And she said, well, it just goes to show that your whole life is an interview.
Yeah.
And that's kind of stuck with me. You know, our interactions with other people and the way that we live our life is kind of an interview for whatever comes next.
That's so true. Oh my gosh, that's really deep, Allie. I really like that idea. Yeah. That, I mean, that could also, you could use it as a weapon too, obviously, you know, like, and just get so nervous about how you're interacting with people. So, but if you're already that type of a person, then just, if you just internalize it, just be yourself, then, you know, there's no force, there's nothing you need to do to force it. It's just out there in the world, and people catch or pick up on that. I also loved that the way that you were able to get that job is because you volunteered to begin with. And then you slowly, you know, just increased your skills as you know, kind of moved up, right? And until you felt confident enough to go ahead and apply for a job that maybe you felt a little underqualified for.
Right. Yeah. And they were really great. I have some really good mentors at my job right now, and they were willing to teach me. And they said, you know, we were looking for a certain personality and a certain person. The skills can be taught. And I was like, well, that's good, because there's going to be a lot of skills that are going to need to be taught. And they've been very patient with me and just really great mentors. And same idea. They had confidence in me that I could do it, and that gave me the confidence to try.
Yeah. And I think we can totally use that tool in raising our children to be more confident as well. If we exhibit some confidence in them and some trust in them, then they're going to rise to the occasion, because what kid or what person doesn't want to become who you think that they are? So if you just envision that to begin with, and I guess we can use it for ourselves too. Just, you know, what's the quote that you had, that we have to let go of the life we are living to experience the life that is waiting for us. So if you build that life that is waiting for you already, you're going to be able to let go of all of the negative kinds of things the negative story you've been telling yourself, to be able to start achieving that life that is really waiting for you. So what kind of life have you kind of created, or what are you creating? I mean, I know you're very satisfied with the life that you have right now, but is there something you're also creating that you're looking forward to?
I think I'm also just creating a life where there's goodness in the world. You know, find the joy in the little things, kind of take a step back to childhood and the things that you enjoyed there, and bring them back to life. You know, like let go of some of the technology that sucks us in. And take time to smell the roses and crunch in the leaves, and, you know, just enjoy the view around you, the beautiful place that we live in.
Yeah. And do you do that on a regular basis?
I actually do. Every morning I look out my window and I think, wow, I live in a really beautiful place.
What a beautiful thought to have at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Great. Okay.
Yeah. So every day I try to find something to be grateful for. And then, I mean, things are hard, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think our attitude towards that is what gets us through.
Yeah.
There's a story about everybody has this cup, right, that they carry around, and whatever they do in their life is what this cup is filled with, and it's full to the top with whatever we put into it. And when we get bumped, that's going to spill. And whatever is in our cup is what's going to spill out. So if we fill our cup with positivity, then when we get bumped, positivity is going to come out. But if we fill our cup with negativity, then when we get bumped, negativity is going to come out. And so it's really about like, what are you putting in your cup and what is going to spill out when you get ruffled?
Yeah. And what are you looking for too?
Right.
So looking for that, taking those small moments and looking for the things you're grateful for, just add things to that cup, those positive things to your cup, because you're going to find both. There's lots of negative things out there and lots of positive things. And so if you're the type of person that looks for positivity, then you're going to be able to give more positivity to the world. So which you are super good at. Hey, I'm just taking a pause for the middle of this one. If you're new here, welcome to the Cindy Mom community. I am so grateful you're spending this time with me and Allison today. If something in this conversation is hitting home for you, please do me a favor and share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. That is honestly the best way this podcast grows. One Cindy Mom telling another. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe wherever you're listening and head over to cindymom.com to subscribe there too. You'll get every new episode plus blog posts and extras delivered straight to you. Coming up next on this podcast, I'm sitting down with Nicole Gardner, who is a friend of mine from the coaching world, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. Okay, back to my conversation with Allison, right where we left off. I guess we could go back to COVID a little bit. Was that hard for you being in the medical field?
A little bit, but I actually loved how it brought everyone back home. Mm-hmm. It kind of simplified life. And I remember COVID happened over spring break. We had plans to go somewhere for spring break. And so I wanted to still create those memories with my kids and still find fun things to do. So I asked each of them, like, if they could go anywhere in the world, where would they want to go? And they each said something. And then during spring break, we created this place for them. So one of them wanted to go to China. So we had made this cardboard airplane. We all got in the airplane and we flew to China. And then we, ate Chinese food. We did
I love
things
that
like
so
that.
much.
We made passports for them. So they had to get a stamp in their passport. One of them wanted to go to Hawaii. So we went and found some hot pots.
Okay.
Over by Utah Lake. And we said, this is our warm Hawaii. We're going to go in this warm water. Yeah. So we just created these memories and moments in a way that we couldn't have done otherwise.
That's so creative. I really love that. Do you do other things like that, on a regular basis with your kids?
Yeah. We like to create memories that are fun. We just went on a road trip to the Oregon coast and we were a little bit worried about the long drive. It's a long drive. And I thought the kids might get bored or get sick of being in the car. And so one of the things that we did to make it more exciting is we had each of our kids choose 10 songs that they loved. And we made a playlist, put a playlist together. And then we played this playlist on a road trip. And every time a song came on, we would listen to it, we'd sing to it. And then at the end, we would say 1, 2, 3, and we would point at who we thought chose this song. And so it made it really fun. And our kids ended up not even being on their phones or on the tablet the whole drive.
Yeah. And how old are your kids?
So we have, our youngest is 13, and then we have a 16-year-old, 22-year-old, and 24-year-old.
Yeah. So, teenagers, and you can keep them off their devices during a road trip. That's pretty impressive. So because I always had games for my younger kids, road trip games, but that's a great idea. Because generally, we head down to St. George and they're like AirPods in on the phone the whole way.
So we were trying to figure out ways that we could do things that they enjoyed, but also connect with each other. So,
okay, what are some other ideas? I'm loving these. These are great.
So we had this idea for our summer to have Throwback Thursdays, where we park our phones and we do something that we did as kids. So it hasn't really started yet because our summer has just barely started, but we try to do things like play board games or watch movies that we watched as kids. We've also taught our kids different games like jump roping and jacks and marbles. And we play pool together and we go do ultimate frisbee. So I think we're trying to find those ways that we can connect physically without having to be on devices all the time.
Yeah. And then conversations come more naturally as well. It's not anything forced because you're playing a game and it's easy to just kind of connect and laugh together. So I think those are great ideas to kind of keep your family close and everything. So, and you're still pretty close with your extended family as well.
Yeah.
Do you still do family reunions or things like that?
We do. We do family reunions with both my side and my husband's side. We also get together with my cousins.
Okay.
Still. And with his cousins. And so, yeah, we do a lot of family
What
stuff.
are some of your favorite reunions that you've done together or activities you've done together?
So some of our favorites are going to Bear Lake with our family. We love going up there. We go up there for New Year's. So we do a winter time, but we also like to go up there in the summer. And there's a lot of us. My husband is one of 10 kids. So a lot of us will get together and we all stay in one place and we sleep all over the floor and we play games. We do minute to win it games. We do random challenges. We play at the lake, all sorts of things like that. So it's really fun.
Okay.
And then with my family, we do a family reunion where we go different places. Like we take turns being in charge and we come up with a theme and we go to either camping or staying in an Airbnb and same idea. We do a bunch of games together. We try to connect with each other. And sometimes we'll do like a spiritual message at the end of each night to kind of keep us focused on Christ.
I love that. Those are great ideas. So, I mean, you seem to be pretty courageous, like willing to just jump into things before you really know. I mean, I think somebody was saying that you've done cold plunges and you've been to you've camping in Iceland. Let's actually talk about that. Tell me about camping in Iceland. That sounds amazing.
So going to Iceland was number one on my bucket list for a long time. And I think it was because it was somewhere that not very many people had gone. This was back before it was really cool to go there.
Yeah.
And anyway, it had always been on my list of somewhere I wanted to go. And my husband surprised me with a trip to Iceland. And so we both went and we ended up just renting one of those vans that you can sleep in.
Yeah.
It was tiny. It was this tiny little van. It literally had the driver's seat and the passenger seat and then a mattress in the back. And if you lifted up the mattress, there was like a little container that held like a camping stove, a couple sleeping bags. You know, it was just, it wasn't anything fancy is what I'm saying.
It was living in your van down by the river.
Exactly. Exactly. So we got in this van and we just drove along the coast, the southern coast. And it really is the best way to see Iceland because everything's kind of spread out. So if you stay in Reykjavik, you really have to drive back and forth quite a bit and you don't get to see as much. And so we kind of went at the end of the season, the touristy season. We went in October, so it wasn't like warm. I don't know if it's ever warm there, but it wasn't that warm. And anyway, we would just drive and we would stop at a site, see it, get back in the van, drive again. We would find random places to stop along the way.
Wow.
And we were able to see a lot of really beautiful things. And I don't think we could have seen it if we would have stayed in the city.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
That can be a little bit, frightening to be in a foreign country and to stay in a van, like not know the geography and things like that. So what do you recommend for people who want to take the first courageous step to doing something like getting something off your bucket list? Because so often we just like stand still and because it seems hard.
My advice would be just to take the first step. It's never going to be the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want to take a trip, book the tickets, figure out the rest later.
And then it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just taking that leap first and then kind of filling in the details later. Giving yourself something that you can't go back on.
Yeah. And did you plan that whole trip? Did you know all the places where you're going to
We did not know all of the places we were going to stop. We definitely did our research and looked into it. We knew a few places that we wanted to stop. And we hit those major things, but sometimes we had to stop somewhere in between to sleep for the night. There's really like a 2-lane road that goes all the way around Iceland, and the northern coast was closed at that time because of the weather.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of the volcanoes are. So a lot of volcanic activity is on the northern coast. So we didn't see as much of that, but we spent a lot of time on the southern coast, and it's a 2-lane road. There's tiny towns here and there, but they don't even really have a lot of things in those towns.
Yeah.
So when we first got there, we went to the grocery store and just bought random food that we could cook on our camping stove wherever we were. And, you know, my favorite memory of Iceland was we were driving at night, and it's super dark there because they don't have street lights like we do here.
Okay, yeah.
And there's no one on the road. We were the only car on the road.
Were there animals and stuff crossing as well?
There's sheep, a lot of sheep there.
Okay.
So yes, in some places.
So there's a
yeah. But you're just you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And we were driving late at night trying to figure out where we were going to stop for the night, and we saw this random like green light in the sky, and we were like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And we ended up stopping literally in the middle of the road. There wasn't even a shoulder that you could pull over. We stopped in the middle of the road, and we got out, and it was the Northern Light. And they were just like this green ribbon in the sky. And it was amazing. So beautiful. And we ended up being able to see the Northern Lights a couple of the nights that we were there. And some of the locals said that they had never been this amazing in years. Wow. And so we just happened to hit it just
Of course,
right.
yes. And that happens so often, right? If we're looking for it, if we're looking for those little miracles that happen, they're really following us, and they're trying to find us all the time. So we just have to slow down and be able to see them and to appreciate them when they come along. So
and being willing to stop.
Yes.
And enjoy it. I think that's a lot of times we don't recognize it, or like you said, we're moving too fast that we don't take that time to stop and just enjoy it.
Yeah. So sometimes not even making plans is a good way to do it. You just like hop in the car and you start driving until you decide to stop. And you know, you see something and like, oh, let's check this out. And some of my best vacations or memories come from those kind of spontaneous trips. So my friend, the Jonases, so Kim Jonas was on the episode, like she had an episode at almost the very beginning, but their family likes to go travel through Europe on bikes. And they make a plan for where they're staying the first night and the last night. And in between, they just kind of figure out, you know, and they bring their whole family. They just got back from southern Spain, and they had 9 of them, like just riding their bikes through southern Spain, and they just stop and stay at a spot. We can, right?
Because you can. Yeah, I love that. We would have certain places we wanted to see. But if we were on our way there and we saw something else we wanted to check out, we would be okay just stopping and checking that out first. Yeah. So, yeah, I love that.
Don't hold yourself to a schedule.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, be open. Yeah. Be open-minded to random things that happen.
That's right, because things happen, and we can just show up somewhere, and it can be the best, like, so glad that happened. And even, like, when things don't go right, you know, like I was talking to this lady the other day who was so worried. She was going to go to Hawaii, and she was so worried it was going to rain. And I'm like, actually, a rainstorm in Hawaii is pretty cool. You know, like you got to learn to enjoy even when things maybe don't turn out as good as you think they're going to. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to live your life too. To just like, hey, something, you know, I got a little bit of rain. Let's look for the positive. Yeah, and just embrace it.
Puddle.
There's not I mean, you can't control what God controls, right? So just embrace all of it. It's all part of the existence, or you know, this human experience that we're having. So love that so much.
That happened to us in Puerto Rico. We had gotten to Puerto Rico with our family, and it poured the whole time we were there, and we were not prepared for that. We were drenched, but if you ask any of our kids, they'll say that was one of their favorite places.
Right.
Because we just splashed in the puddles and we just made it fun anyway.
Yeah. We were on a beach in Greece one time with our kids. We had taken we went to this island in Greece. It's called Naxos. It's one of the biggest islands, but it was the last one to have tourist things. So they had these old like dirt roads all through it. And we rented this little Fiat. It was just teeny tiny, no seat belts. And we're like bouncing through. We ended up on this beach and it was so windy. Like you really couldn't play very well on the beach. And we were the only ones on this beach and it was just not very comfortable. So we built this like hill that we could sit behind to kind of block us from the wind. And my husband sat there and made up all these stories about his ancestors who were sailors and, and this, great pirate story. And it was really one of my favorite trips we ever took because of and we didn't even have to leave. We didn't have to be in Greece to do that. Right. We could have, and we've done that before just in our house. You make tent forts with your little kids or like or you make up fun games for while you're, driving around to keep people, build a playlist with your teenagers or, you just build these little traditions into the way that, or you just be who you are and your kids learn. Like I should appreciate things more. My mom gets up every single morning and finds what she's grateful for outside. Like that's actually a much better way to live than to get up and say, what do I have to do today?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I think some of the best memories are those when things didn't go as planned.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And so embrace it. And even when your kids are doing stuff that you're not super happy about it, sometimes it's okay to embrace that too, and just be like, okay, here they go. They're having their human experience just like I did. And what's going to happen next? So it's just it's a fun story to watch. And if you can be supportive, and if you can keep that relationship strong, then they can come back. So easier said than done sometimes.
For sure. I think it's hard to see our kids struggle with anything or choose things that maybe we wouldn't choose for them. But I think it's important just to be there for them. And then, I don't know, you don't want to take away their growth experience.
Right.
Like I learned this for myself and I want to save you from going through the hard part of learning this. But at the same time, I am who I am because I had to learn that.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they don't learn it from you telling them, if they don't learn it from that experience, they'll have to learn it some other place. And so, it's good to just allow them to make the decisions for themselves. Really, in the end, that's what it is it's their life. And you're going to have a much better relationship if you can allow them to live their life. So, but teach them stuff too along the way. That's the tricky part. It's knowing, when am I teaching? When am I interfering, and figuring all that out.
Well, and I think the best thing that we can do is teach by example.
For sure.
Let them see us fail.
Yeah.
And, let them hear us say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I think those are the teaching moments that stick.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, definitely. And that's really what helps us to let go of the life that we have and seek for something that's even better, that's something that's waiting for us. And I love that. Okay. Well, I have a few rapid fire questions for you that I try to do at the end. So the first one is, what has brought you joy in the last 24 hours?
My family and nature. Those are the two things I think always bring me joy, but yeah, especially
family and nature being together is always good. Good. All right. What about a book that you've read recently or that you would recommend?
Probably two of my favorite books would be The Mountain Between Us.
Okay.
By Charles Martin. That's a good adventure book.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite authors. And How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yes, I think that's a must read every year because I think we forget what's in it, but it has so many good things.
Yeah, and it's not just about trying to manipulate other people to like you. It's about like really truly seeing people and so that they can see you as well. I love that. I read that when I was probably 12. Love that book. Okay, yeah. What about a documentary or TV show that you like?
So we just recently watched American Idol.
Oh, really? They're still around.
They're still around. Yes. We watched it way back when it first started and loved that show. And we kind of haven't watched it for a long time. We got our kids into it this time. And I just love seeing people chase their dreams and grow throughout the process. So we watched American Idol together.
That's so fun. And you do that as a family.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. And then we vote for who we like because we don't want them to go home.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well, that's a really fun one. I love that. Okay, what about a Sunday person from history that you admire?
I would probably say my grandma. She was definitely a Cindy person. My grandpa passed away before I was born, so I actually never met him. But she was a very independent woman, and she remodeled her house. She did everything on her own, like she wasn't scared to try new things. If she didn't know how to do it, she would figure it out.
Yeah.
And she would tell you, you don't need a man around to fix this leaky faucet or whatever it was. She had a beautiful garden. Her yard was immaculate. She built a fish pond in her backyard. She was just a go-getter.
Well, and it sounds like she really kept the family together too, like just because you're so close with your siblings and your cousins and everything too. So yeah, that is definitely to be admired and something that you want to pass down to your own children too, of independence, and you can do it.
For sure.
I love that. That's great. Okay, here's a new question. My son-in-law suggested, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in spirits from the other side.
Okay.
I don't know if I would say ghosts necessarily. I definitely believe in angels.
Yes, but no paranormal experiences or anything.
No, but my father-in-law is known as the Grandpire because he likes to tell scary stories. And so we've definitely had a lot of ghost stories in our family that have been passed down.
Yeah, I love that too, because you can, passing down those stories is part of the, what we do is to pass down our legacy to others. So that's really cool. Good. Okay. And what's one thing that you try to do every day?
Be grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you write it down?
I did start writing it down this year. I have a little gratitude journal where I'll write one thing down from each day. And I've been surprised at some of the little things that when you actually write it down, realize what you're grateful for.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good. And what do you think I should try next?
Climb a tree. Go climb a tree. Or try or go back to something you did as a kid.
I love that.
Try jump roping again or whatever it is that you loved as a kid. I think sometimes we forget that those things can bring so much joy.
I need to go get a pogo stick. I had a pogo stick when I was a kid, and I remember just like trying to get as many bounces as I could on it.
I love that. Yes, we used to do that too.
I love that. That's a great idea. Well, great. And my kids have made a tree house in our backyard that is kind of amazing. So maybe I ought to
that is
go
my
up
dream.
There and check it out. I should take you down there. It's kind of incredible, actually, what they've done.
Yeah, I was just telling my daughter the other day that my dream when I was younger is that when I had kids, I was going to plant a tree for each of my kids as soon as they were born. And then by the time they were like 10, the tree would be big enough that I could build a tree house. And then they would have like these zip lines to each other's tree house, and they would all have their own tree house. And my daughter was like, you should have done that.
Why didn't you do it, Mom?
And I was like, well, we never lived in a place long enough for the tree to get big enough.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like a fun idea.
That is a really cute idea. I love that. Well, good. Well, it has been really fun to talk to you about, building things and about being, having traditions that are building you as a family and keeping you close to each other, and also allowing a lot of freedom for your kids to be able to make their own choices about things. And I loved visiting with you about and finding out a little bit more about you. I have loved teaching you piano. That's another Sunday thing that Allie's done is, as an adult, deciding to start piano lessons again. And you can do that at any point, just decide, I want to pick this up and I want to try it and whatever. And you just take the first step, just like booking a trip, book your first piano lesson or banjo lesson. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now.
You should do it. You should do it. Yeah. You're never too young.
Right.
You're never too old.
Both of them. Exactly.
Yep.
So you just pick it up and you try it. Right. And so I love that. And just the fact that we have the power to create the kind of life and experience that we want to have. And,
For sure.
And having that kind of empowerment can be really powerful. So that's great. So thank you. Thanks for being here. And thank you for being on the Sending Mom podcast today. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Be sure, if you have not subscribed to sendingmom.com, go to the website and subscribe, because you'll get all the blog entries and any other newsletters and things like that. And we will see you next time. Thanks.
In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, do something every day that scares you.